REA, I got it, excuse me, I'm going to get that right, are here and are going to be doing our interview this afternoon. And again, I know some of you are somewhat familiar with our guest story, and we look forward to having the interview this afternoon so we can learn more about how she's made a difference with the problem of cyberbullying, and how she's obviously leveraged a passion for technology and coding and computer science at a very young age to do wonderful things and have a very positive impact. So let's give a warm White Eagle welcome to Trisha Prabhu.
Good afternoon. Our Right at Children ReThink campaign this year is centered around setting and achieving goals. Today, Trisha Prabhu is here to talk to us about her app ReThink and her goals. Trisha attends Neuqua Valley High School. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what is ReThink?
So that's a great question. So how many of you guys to start know what cyberbullying is? Oh, great. I'm not going to have an issue with that. So, as you know, we have a lot of social media out there today, a lot of technology. I'm sure maybe some of you have phones and other, devices, iPads, computers, laptops, that you use every single day. But, that is a huge responsibility that we take on when we, agree to kind of use those devices and kind of become digital citizens. So kind of citizens of the internet, if you think about that. And so when I was 13, so in 7th grade in middle school, I learned about this issue and kind of how it was affecting a lot of my friends and a lot of my peers. And I think I had been bullied a lot growing up, and it just really struck a personal chord with me, because I actually wanted to do something about it. I didn't want to just feel bad about it. So that's really where ReThink was born, and I created this technology product. So ReThink is an app. It's available for download on the Google Play Store and the App Store. And essentially what it does is it provides anyone who's about to post something offensive on social media a second chance to rethink their decision. So like, for example, let's just say I'm on Twitter, and I try to post something offensive, something really rude that shouldn't be on there. You are so ugly, and I tweet it at someone. ReThink is able to detect that message is offensive, and then it goes, whoa, hold on. Are you sure you want to post this message? So you get a little pop-up on your phone. It just gives you a second chance to rethink what you're about to do. So I ended up conducting a 1,500 trial experiment with this app, found that over 93% of the time, when kids get this second chance to rethink their decision, they change their mind, decide not to post the message on social media. So that's essentially what ReThink is and what it does.
How did you get the idea for this app?
Okay, so I think I touched on that a little. I read about this young girl who had struggled a lot through cyberbullying. I have actually met now with a lot of families who have children who have struggled through this issue. Cyberbullying is something that affects all of us personally and deeply. And I think that just because it's through a cyber form, just because it's through the internet today, does not mean it has any less impact than someone saying it straight to your face. A lot of victims of cyberbullying suffer from low self-esteem, depression. They feel sad all the time. I'm sure, a lot of you, and I'm obviously not going to ask if you've been bullied or cyberbullied, but I'm sure a lot of you know what that feels like, to feel hurt, or to wonder why someone would say something mean or rude to you when you don't deserve to feel like that, and quite frankly, they shouldn't be saying something like that. And so just kind of learning about that and recognizing that that was an issue, being a teenager myself and feeling like I understood this issue really well, and adults, try as they might, really couldn't in a way that I could, because I had grown up in this technology age, and I knew what it was like to always be barraged with mean, offensive comments online. I decided I wanted to do something about it. I decided I wanted to be an upstander, not a bystander. And I think that is kind of a risky position, and it takes a lot of courage, but it's one that pays off.
So what research did you do to get started?
Yeah, so when I first came across this entire problem, and I was like, okay, I need to do something about this. I want to make a difference. My first thought was, okay, so what am I going to do? Because if you guys know a little bit about social media. Now, how many of you guys know that if you're on Facebook and someone tries to, post something offensive, you can block that person? Yeah, a significant number, right? There are, kind of measures to stop cyberbullying out there. But what I recognize is that a lot of these measures kind of try to stop the damage after it's done, right? So after you're cyberbullied, after those mean words are sent, then there's some sort of solution. So I wanted to try and attack the issue proactively. And that is when I came across this very interesting piece of research about the human brain. So something really interesting about the brain that you guys might not know, it develops from the back to the front. Which means that when you're born, some of the first skills that you develop are located right back here, so vision skills, that sort of thing. And some of the last skills to develop are right up here. And those skills include decision making and impulse control. And so the next time, your parents get mad at you, you're like, what were you thinking? Why did you do this? You can just say, Mom, my brain's not developed. It's a scientific thing. It's a scientific thing. And so what we find is that teens and kids, we struggle a lot with making poor decisions. I mean, how many of you guys have been like, oh gosh, I had no idea why I did that, right? I mean, me too. You wonder why you did something, you really feel you shouldn't have done. You regret it in retrospect. And so I thought, how cool would it be if I tapped into the fact that I know that kids and teens often don't think through what they're about to do? And what if I gave them a second chance to rethink their decision? So after I did that research into the brain and I kind of developed this concept, this idea of ReThink, I then ended up conducting a study at the Naperville Public Library, which is just about 10 minutes from here. So I basically camped out there for all of my 8th grade winter, Thanksgiving and winter breaks. And I just recruited high schoolers and other teenagers, asked them, hey, would you mind participating in a study? And we just provided them with examples of offensive messages on social media and kind of saw how ReThink changed their behavior. And so it ended up becoming this huge project and ended up taking on a life of its own, I guess you could say. To find out that people who were originally, willing to post a message like, you are so ugly, you're so mean, why are you still alive, just really awful things, changed their mind and said, no, that was just really special to me, and I think that's when I realized it could have a potential to make an impact.
What was your initial goals for ReThink?
So when I started, it really was just a science fair project. And then that was all I intended for it to be. But I think the really amazing thing about life-changing moments and life-changing experiences is most often you don't actually realize that things are going to change your life when they do. If you guys think back to moments in your life, and you guys are really not all that younger than me, I'm just like 5 or 6 years, you probably didn't realize at the time that that moment was going to be really special to you, or that that moment was going to stick in your head forever. It's kind of the same thing with ReThink. I created this as a science fair project, honestly, for school.
What sacrifices have you made as you pursue this dream?
Oh goodness. I think that, there's 2 types of sacrifices. I think personal sacrifices and then, business-related sacrifices. I'm 16. I'm just a kid. My mom loves to remind me every day. And I'm sure all of you guys, love hanging out with your friends, right? Going to the movies, doing fun, kid stuff. And some of those things I have to compromise on. It's part of being an entrepreneur. And it's part of, growing up old, so to speak, is, you let go of a few of those things. I'm aiming to go to my senior year homecoming because I have missed the first 3 because I was traveling. You miss a lot of school, and, things are just in general a lot busier for you. So those are some of the personal sacrifices I made. But some of the business sacrifices you make, you give up. I'm giving up 20% of my company for $100,000. That's really difficult, just for me because it's my baby. I really had to work hard to get it to where it's at. You put in a lot of yourself when you build anything, regardless of whether it's a company or a science fair project or anything. If you work really hard on something, you end up having a really personal attachment to it. Some of you guys, even something simple as a test or an essay. If you work hard for that, you want it to succeed because you put so much of yourself into it. So, those are some of the sacrifices that, you have to make. I'd say the payback is worth it.
So how do you balance school and ReThink being a high school student?
This may be a good time to say that I have an AP Chem test and an AP US history test on Monday. I've not started studying for either. So, I'm taking 4 APs right now, and those are advanced placement classes. Do you guys do PA? That's right now, right? Yeah, so that's kind of the advanced, it's kind of the same thing in high school. So you're doing a collegiate level course in high school. So I'm really, really busy all of the time. I'm almost always working, and it's really, really hard to balance. I, try to make, exceptions. Every Sunday evening, we try to sit down together as a family, and just, watch a TV show together, or eat a dinner together, or, do something special together. Especially because, I think it's finally kicked into my parents, like, oh my gosh, she's gonna be going to college in 2 years. And I'm an only child, so I don't have any siblings. They're holding it as tight as they can. And then, school-wise, I just try to give my best effort. You learn to study smart in high school. You just kind of learn to balance everything. The really nice thing is, Niqua, the high school that I attend, I'm a junior there, has been really supportive of just everything that I do. And they have, really helped accommodate my schedule, especially with, travel and everything. So I've been really blessed because, I have great friends, and I have great staff that really supports and encourages me.
What is in the future for you and ReThink?
So we have a lot of, big long-term, short-term goals, looking out and just kind of envisioning where we want to go. Obviously, part of getting investor dollars is when, Mark Cuban's like, hey, here's $100,000. I don't get to go, prom shopping. It's not like I can go spend it on whatever I want. So obviously, we set goals for where that money is going to go. So some of our immediate goals is to develop ReThink in international languages. Right now ReThink is an English-only keyboard, meaning if you communicate in Spanish, in Hindi, in Chinese, in German, you can't really use ReThink. And that's obviously something we want to change because we want to be able to touch, people across the globe, and we want to be able to impact their lives. So that's probably our next immediate goal, is to get ReThink developed in those languages. Beyond that, we want to get it to other platforms. So right now we are on your mobile devices, but we also want to make sure that you can have ReThink on a laptop or on other devices. So we're trying to expand to other platforms. So that's what's in the immediate future for ReThink.
I think we have some time for some questions from the audience.
Gosh, do I have to be the one to pick?
Okay. But do we have time? We're on 3:05. I'm
Absolutely.
Okay. Roger? Yes. Nice and loud.
So you're saying that you're gonna put ReThink in other languages, right? Yeah. So are you gonna have somebody else learn those languages, or are you gonna learn the languages?
That's a great question, because it's not just a matter of getting the language, but it's a matter of localizing it. So if you think about it, English, we speak English here in the United States. People speak English in Britain. People speak English across the globe. But I'm sure you guys know some slang that, they don't speak in Great Britain, right? Like they say different things, we see different things. So localizing to those different regions, like if you try to say something that's like British slang, ReThink is not going to be able to recognize that because we're not localized to British America. So when we consider these languages, we need to consider A, what the language is, but then B, how are people using it to communicate with one another? So the really nice thing is there are a lot of resources that are already out there. There are already, I guess the best way to explain it, packages of information that we can use and implement in our code right now so that ReThink can adopt kind of these new languages. But the other nice thing is that the language learns. So the technology is always learning. So whenever people are typing in things and getting ReThink alerts, the technology is always continually becoming smarter. So it's self-learning.
Oh, we gotta go to the next one. Okay, go ahead. Nice and loud.
Why is it an app? Because what do you do on the app?
Okay, yeah, that's a great great question. So how does the app work? So it's like a 3-minute download. You download it, and basically what you do is you give full access to your keyboard. So it becomes your keyboard. So basically keyboard is what you're typing on, right? So now you have the ReThink keyboard. Other than that, you never touch the app again. It's almost like it's not there. That's what we want it to be like. It's just a normal experience for you until you need it, until you need a chance to rethink.
Have you ever been cyberbullied?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was, oh gosh, I feel like when I was your age, in 4th or 5th grade, back then, Google Plus was the big, the big thing. People used to, come up with like fashion quizzes for like wardrobes that you wanted, and mine was not the one that you wanted. And people, just came up, just said a lot of mean stuff to me, and I was one of those people who always felt really special when people bullied me because I was like, wow, they care so much about me. I had a very unique perspective on that, but it really impacted me. It did.
Does ReThink, if you're typing in real words, does it also take like emojis?
Yeah, great question. So we don't actually do emoji recognition yet. It's something that we're working on, and it's a long-term goal for us. Maybe I should have mentioned that. It's actually picture recognition. So how many of you guys know what Snapchat is? Everyone. And that's not a lot of words, is it? It's a lot of pictures. And like I have an Instagram, right? And that's a lot of pictures. So recognizing offensive pictures, that's kind of the future, and that requires like a new level of intelligence with technology.
I have a quick question. Now, you're a junior, correct? With all the success with the entrepreneurship, how's that impacting your goals as far as your future education for higher level education? And what are your plans for balancing that? Do you know what direction you're going?
Yeah, it's tough because so many of, one of the amazing things about traveling the world is you learn so much and you realize that you are just one person of so many varieties and types of people that are out there. And so what I've learned is that like there are different paths to success. There really is no one formula. For me, I'll probably still want to pursue college. That is something that I want, at the very least, an undergraduate degree. I'm not really sure, what I want to do, and I think that's okay, honestly. I think it's good to keep your doors open. Probably something in neuroscience and comp science, because I feel like that's really the intersection of where ReThink lives.
I think we're just going to do one more. We want to be respectful of your time with those big tests coming up. Is it time? Yeah, two. Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah. That's the
Simple,
short answer.
right? You made it as simple as possible for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't have to worry about it. The really nice thing is too, is it's smart. So let's just say you try, like, we live in Chicago and I hate the snow. And now that I drive, I really hate the snow. If I try to, post something like, I really hate this weather, it's not going to ReThink alert you for that because that's your opinion. It's not an offensive message. So it can actually differ between those types of messages.
Students hand out. Adults, any questions we have from our staff at all? It's been a fascinating. Yes, Mrs. Vieira?
First of all, amazing. But second of all, where did you go about to learn more about coding in this area?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question, because that's like a really huge plug that I'm just gonna, go after right now. Regardless of what you want to major in, or you guys are so young, you're not even thinking about that. Regardless of what you think you want to do later on in life, knowing how to code and learning how to code is such an essential skill. My neighbor is an art major. She goes to the Rhode Island School of Design, which is one of the best art schools in the nation. She told me that this summer she learned how to code because a lot of the art they're doing relates to computers. For me, I took a lot of classes. A lot of them were male-dominated. The nice thing for you guys, ladies, is that now there are a lot of female individualized classes. Like I teach Girls Who Code classes over the summer. There are great summer camps to learn how to code. Once you learn one language, you can basically do any language because the logic is exactly the same. So I learned to code from classes, but the really nice thing is for you guys have online resources. So Khan Academy, Code Academy. It's so simple. It's honestly a lot of fun. You get to build games, and you just get to empower yourself. How cool is it to know that you can actually affect something that's happening on a computer? It's amazing.
Well, I would just like to summarize by saying we're so appreciative of you taking time out of your busy schedule. And we have so many connections. is certainly the social implication of that, and that's something we're talking about. We're currently piloting a digital citizenship curriculum that we're using, and this was a perfect connection. And we are sitting in our creation station where we have our robots and other devices and things for children. They are starting even kindergarten and first grade, so we're doing that. And I think the last thing I want to highlight is that I think is amazing that the great things that you're doing, you found a need. And the one was ReThink. And for years as educators, they kept saying, we need more girls in science. And obviously you took that to heart, and you took steps to have a positive impact on that. So boys and girls and staff, let's give her a very warm thank you.